In progress.
Recording
Here
in
we go,
progress.
Mike.
Huh?
It's a go.
So
We're live.
again, this is total amateur hour.
Brought the band back together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got the crew back together. Like we've done this once before.
Yeah.
Uh, it's been a it's been over a year now, like since we've actually done this, right?
Oh, yeah. It's been a little while.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
has.
because yes, it was like season 2, episode 2 or something that you
I don't
co-hosted.
know. So what number would that be? What we're in?
Geez, I
I have
don't
no
know.
idea.
Dude, that was like a year
Well,
ago.
I
That's
like the
probably like
fact you just
episode
go in
10.
numbers now. It's like 50. It's like
Yeah.
UFC.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Yeah.
the heck with seasons. This
Well,
is episode 50.
can we try and do an intro here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do it, Mac?
No.
Oh, okay.
Mike will do it today.
Oh, Big
I did the
Mike.
last one.
All right. You do the intro, Mike.
All right. Welcome to episode 50 of Mulligans and Hackers. Your host, the Alvinator, and the two that crashed the party, as we are wont to do, Mike, Johnny, and Mac from On the Screws. So thanks for letting us hang
Hello.
out, Alvin.
Hey, episode
Yeah,
50
buddy.
is kind of a milestone for us here. And I wanted to get some of our friends that we've had, you know, been friends with since pretty much we started this whole shenanigans 3 years ago. So our 3-year anniversary was the 19th of this month. That was
Wow.
that was literally the 3-year existence because our first podcast came out on the 19th 3 years ago.
That is cool. Must be
Yeah.
something about April. It's my golf blog's 10 years old now.
Oh, well,
10
there you go.
years.
Wow, Mike. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
That is
that's kind of
sweet.
wild. I haven't
That is cool.
COVID got me out of my routine. I haven't been doing a ton of writing lately, but it's the fact that you're able to connect with folks. I mean,
Yeah.
you two are my two favorite golf podcasters. We've got to know you both really well, and it's an absolute blast. It's a lot of fun. So, tip of the glass to you boys. Congrats
Thank you,
to
buddy.
Alvin and
Thank you.
Chris. 50 down, 50 more to go.
Wow.
Oh, you meant Alvin and Chris, not Alvin and Mack. Oh, that hurts. Oh, no. That hurts.
Well, congrats to you too, Mac.
Yeah,
Yeah,
buddy.
well, I'm sitting here on a phone right now. That's how good things are going for me. But
Yep. So give
yeah,
everybody, so if you're watching on YouTube, give everybody an explanation of why you're sitting basically on the floor with your phone.
I'm doing some flooring right now, so I'm a little jammed up. But the new podcast studio will be over there.
Ooh.
So
Oh, so
yeah,
that's what we're doing,
Oh,
eh?
okay. So this is a
so we're working on a couple things here. So we'll have
labor
a
of love.
podcast space just across the way there. So that'll be kind of cool. So yeah, just trying to because we're trying to do some more live stuff too. So that's kind of the idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
we you're the professional podcaster here out of the group, and we set up this time. We set up this time to do our 50th episode. And when I message you and say, "Hey, the invite's sent," you message me back and go, "Hey, I totally forgot. I'm going to need about
Yeah.
15 to 20 minutes."
I'm usually, you know what, too? I'm so good at because I'm out of my element right now. But like one of my best things is like my organizational like development, I guess, of my like the podcast space. So I like have everything set up in my phone, but I'm not a guest that often. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. So
Okay.
I usually have
I
everything
get,
set up in my calendar. Like, okay, Alvin, you know, I have to also take care of Bryce. So I have to be very organized. You guys know this now.
yeah,
So
we get that now, but so as a guest, you're terribly unorganized. As the host, you've got it
uh,
nailed down.
I'm here. I'm here. It's not great.
It's
I
hey,
literally I have 2% on my phone. I have my phone plugged. Oh man. I have my phone plugged into the wall here. We're doing okay.
This is
it's the
fun.
equivalent of just pulling up to the course 2 minutes before you play. You
This
get
is my
out,
trunk slam. This
you
is my
pay,
trunk slam
exactly.
right
Just
here.
walk to the first tee and
I should
pipe
Oh,
have
I
just
love
one,
it.
faked it. Said that
pipe
put
one,
these in my ear.
275 right down the center.
I got my straps from my hoodie in my ear, so at least it looks like I got headphones in or something. I don't know. Tough time to be me right now. But so
Oh, buddy,
Alvin,
I appreciate you going through the rigmarole and getting on here with us for sure. That's
so
awesome.
we're 50 episodes into Mulligans and Hackers, right?
This is our 50th, buddy. Yeah,
So what's some of the stuff that you and Chris have been working on or working on right now? I know you guys do some stuff with Mike, and can you give me a little bit of an update? I listen every week, but can you give me a little bit of an update?
Oh, we're still brand ambassadors for Mike 36 a day at Golf Co. That relationship won't be changing anytime soon. Mike's really good to us. I give you a shout out pretty much on every podcast, Mike, with for 36 a day and how much you look after us. So, again, props to that, and we really appreciate you looking after us almost since day one. I actually just recorded a podcast. I'm not going to tell you with who, but I told the story to him about how we kind of got hooked up. I actually won through a giveaway, and I think, Mac, was it your giveaway?
I give away.
It was your it was your giveaway.
This is like, you ever seen Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio? That's where we're at.
So we were new. We were like a new brand in the whole social media realm, and so just just getting our feet wet and knowing nothing about anything, and especially Instagram, which is it's a great networking platform. We found out now. But back then we had no idea what we were doing. So we did this whole, doing the giveaway, entering the giveaway, tagging all my friends, annoying the crap out of them with just tagging them and everything on Instagram. And I happened to win Mike Johnny's hats. I won the 2 hats, the red and the white one. And this was early in our inception, like literally us getting our first logo, getting some posts up, and it was really early. So then I was like, well, I'm going to wear these hats for sure, like in my first season. And so as we're wearing the hats and posting hats, we actually got in, we actually messaged Mike, and we started that whole relationship, that whole communication relationship, like almost from the start of our inception. So you guys obviously knew each other before that, because I think Mike was on your podcast, right, Mac?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Mike was on ours. Yeah. So I just want to make it clear, I'm responsible for you two guys being friends. Is that right?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
All you.
Right?
Yeah, it was you.
Yeah.
Okay, so like that's more or less a joke, but like the whole point of like why we do things in the podcast space is like to build friendships and stuff like that. So like I'm just being a prick, but you guys would have found each other regardless. But it's kind of cool, like how we all just sort of meet, and like that's how it gets connected, and how the story comes out as we're like talking about it. Right? It's cool.
Well, again, like so we got kind of connected through you, Mac, back in the day, and here we are, like literally 3 years later, and we're still connecting in this whole like podcast space. Yeah. Like that relationship has continued on for pretty much our entire existence, right?
Yeah, no, we've been able to deepen the relationship, and I love, you've had some recent guests that I've gotten to know. I like it. Just becomes this tapestry, right? This web of relationships, and listening to your podcasts, guys, the last couple of years, it's really refreshing. It's really honest conversations with folks in the game, and some are really high profile, but some are new. And I was new, like I was newer than new in this, in the golf scene, especially from a hat standpoint. And you guys were both willing to have a conversation with me. And I was really humbled by that, because I really appreciated it. So as the relationship deepens, I think it's going to continue to help all of us.
I think so as well. I mean, again, when we were setting up this episode 50, I was most of our close contacts, I was saying, we're going to have Mac and Mike on, and they've been our friends since almost like we started this. So it's a no-brainer to have you guys kind of, jump on the 50th episode and make it kind of special for us, right? But it is special for us. But now, Mac, you have to explain to Chris why you're sitting on a floor with your phone.
Sorry, guys. I just got in from provincials. We were just at the provincial volleyball championships in Calgary, and our girls just took the Div 2 provincial banners. So I was.
Oh my God! Congrats!
It was a great weekend.
Nice, good for you, Chris. That's awesome. Are you a coach, Chris?
Yeah. I've coached this age group since U13. So there's been a lot of work and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. We only got one player that's still left from that age group, but or still from my original team. But a lot of these, I think 4 of these girls started at U13 and the rest kind of added on. And, we were building, we've had a good season. We went to Vegas. I mean, we did our podcast when I was down in Vegas playing golf, which is cool. And then we were building towards provincials because, that was where we wanted to be. And we couldn't have done it in any better fashion. We went 7-0. We dropped 2 sets all weekend. We took out the 2 number 1 seeds along the way, the 2 top seeds along the way to win it. And the girls just played fantastic. So it's cool because I get to walk into our 50th episode podcast feeling really good, just straight off the road from driving in from Calgary. Still wearing my medal.
3 hours away, was still wearing his medal. Congrats,
Very nice.
Love that,
awesome,
man. Love that.
Yeah. So what are you doing sitting on the floor?
I was saying to Alvin, so I've been a little bit distracted. I'm just like working on some flooring right now. I got my phone plugged in. I plugged in at 2%.
Oh, you get some home renos.
Yeah, and like so just doing a little bit of work for a podcast space just down the hall. So
nice.
Yeah, so hopefully get that worked out within the next little while. So but I am deep into some flooring right now. So yeah. So
that's all good, man.
I was
Thanks for taking the time to join us though.
I was saying like, I'm usually so good at this. I'm sorry. This is a PG podcast. This one.
No, it's not.
No, it doesn't matter.
We're
it's labeled not for kids, pal.
We're into episode 180 something now, and like I'm always set up for those, and I feel bad that I kind of I'm not.
I don't feel bad at all. It fits into exactly what we're doing.
I messaged him at like a half an hour before we were supposed to go on. So yeah. I texted a message and say, "Hey, I sent the invite, so closer to the top of the hour, jump on." And he messaged me back. Well, I'm like right in the middle of flooring. I totally forgot.
Yeah.
And then I busted his balls about being a pro podcaster, and this is how he winds up as a guest, right?
So the next time you guys see me, this is gone. I put the beard on the line for the banner. The girls are shaving it tomorrow for.
No way.
I haven't shaved it in 10 years. And the girls are shaving it tomorrow at practice. It'll be up on our socials for our volleyball, and I'll share it on mine. And I'm sure Mulligans and Hackers will
definitely have that up.
So I'm losing the beard for the first time in 10 years tomorrow.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So Chris, do you do any maintenance on it at all right now? Like other than trimming the length, like do you clean up like up here? Down below?
Yeah. Like I trim up like up top. I don't like a mustache. My wife doesn't like a mustache. I don't like a mustache, so I just have the beard. I'll trim down like usually every week or so. I'll get underneath and really trim it down nicely. And then my wife will be like, "Did you trim the length?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was getting a little crazy. I tucked it back a little bit." And so I mean, that was just some added motivation for the girls, and I mean, my wife okayed it, thinking she's like, your girls. She's like, I don't know if they'll do it. She's like, yeah, just tell them you'll shave the beard if you win the provincials, and I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. So then I texted her. I was like, so we won, and she's like, no. She's like, so I sent her a picture of us with the banner, and she's like, you're not welcome in my house. Go stay at your mom's until it grows back. So it'll be good. It'll be a different look for me. It'll be weird to see that I have a chin for.
I won't be able to call him the evil leprechaun anymore.
Yeah, hopefully
until it grows back anyway.
Start growing it again tomorrow once it's shaved off. But the sacrifices you make.
20 years, man. That's 10 years is a long time.
That's a big commitment.
Yeah, damn.
I mean, these girls, as you guys know, I'm passionate about golf, but like this is my other passion is volleyball. Like I live and breathe volleyball as much as I live and breathe golf. And, to see these girls win a provincial championship after 5 years with this age group is pretty special.
That is awesome. Special.
So I was willing to put my beard on the line for it. So I'll be clean shaven tomorrow. They're going to shave it off at practice. So it'll be interesting.
Do you play at all, Chris? Do you still play at all?
Yeah, I play rec. We're Division 1. We're Div 1, so we're top 8 or top 6 teams in our city. And we play. Our season came to an end about a month ago. So we usually play for about 6 months. We play once a week, and then we have like a men's tournament that one of the churches holds. So we make a bunch of men's team from the men's player in the city or the men's players in the city. And then some of the college teams or whatever come and they usually win. But I mean, we go and we have fun and we do it. And so, I play and then I play beach in the summertime.
How many teams do you coach?
I coach girls club, and then this will be I'm going into my fourth year as the head coach of the senior and JV boys at the high school up the road that my kids go to.
Way to go. That's
So
cool.
Nice.
it's a lot of commitment. I mean, I'm pretty lucky. I got a wife who's pretty flexible and loves that I'm not at home. So she supports the fact that one, I can golf all the time, and two, that I'm on the road coaching all the time, right? So I mean, if I didn't have her to support me, it would be a whole different story. But it's good.
Because if you've noticed over the winter here, sorry, Mike, but over the winter here, a lot of our podcast has just been me.
Yeah,
And the reason it's just been me is because he's on the road a lot coaching.
All right.
yeah.
And, it's his passion, and that takes precedence over, I can sit in and do podcasts now because I got a little bit better of a handle on hosting a podcast, I guess. I don't know about you, Mac, but I'm starting to get some compliments on being a really good podcast host. Before and after I get my episodes done, some of my guests are really, really complimentary on how I run a podcast and how I talk to them. Now, I don't know if your guests do that to you, but
I have not experienced that yet.
I don't know. He might not be good enough yet.
Still trying to experience that feeling one day. But no, Alvin, you do a great job, buddy. You do an awesome job.
you know what?
Let me ask you, or I know Mike was going to jump in there, but I have a question when you're done, Mike.
No, go ahead, Mac. It's all good.
So Alvin, what is something that you feel like you've learned since you started podcasting? About podcasting specifically that maybe you wouldn't have like known in the past, or that you didn't think that would be a thing?
Personally, the amount of anxiety I have before I do an episode.
Really?
Yeah, I still to this day, if I'm doing a guest podcast, me and Chris sitting down talking about our golf, it's just. But when I have a guest and the time is starting to roll up to where we're going to get together and we're going to get face to face kind of on Zoom, I have a lot of anxiety. I do.
Okay.
Because this isn't a comfortable zone for me, and it's part of the reason we started this as well. Like, I'm not necessarily an outgoing people person. I'm kind of introverted. I mean, it takes a long time to get to know me personally, like especially if like we're here. I mean, me and Chris knew each other for what, 5 years before we did anything outside of work.
Yeah. Like I mean, because
It
I would see him at work, and then eventually after 5 or 6 years, we started coaching ball hockey together.
Right. It takes a long time. So when I meet new people and like in this sphere that we do, like that type of anxiety starts to build. But once I get going,
Okay.
I'm fine. But it's like that build up to it. It still creates a lot of, because my family would tell you that this is totally outside my comfort zone, and it is. Like talking to people that I've never met before, or just and talking
Yeah.
about something. And one of the things that I take, I guess, some pride in is when people come to do our podcast. And I mean, we're a small podcast. And again, granted, we have a little bit of traction now. I don't want to waste anyone's time, right? If they're taking the time to come and join us, like you guys tonight, I don't want them to feel like it was a waste of time. I want them to get something out of it as well, even if it's just a conversation about golf, right? Sometimes it turns into something more, and it's something that continues down the road, which is like you guys and a few others that we can talk to every day, right? But that's for me. It's the anxiety, dude. I still to this day. I mean, I recorded a podcast yesterday, and again the build up to it, because the one I recorded yesterday, was with a guy out of Berlin, Germany, and you're doing that 8 hour time zone difference,
Yeah.
and you want to make sure you get it right, and leading up to that, the anxiety just kind of ramps up a little bit, and still to this day, pal. And I don't know if that'll ever change.
I think it means you care. I think it means it's the equivalent of nerves in sports or golf for me. And not to diminish the anxiety, but it's because you care. There's a degree of preparation and focus. But I'll tell you, it doesn't come across. Everything's really engaging. So with Chris and Alvin and Mac, have you guys? I got two questions. One is, have you had a conversation where, whether it is a specific guest or the way the conversation's rolling, where it's like, wow, I kind of feel like I've made it. Like you're kind of like your big moment where it's like, whoa, this is really cool. And maybe it aligns to that, but what's been your most favorite podcast so far? Like the most, yeah.
I don't want to single anything out or any guest out because again, they're all, for us. They're all me personally. They're all important because they take time out of their day to come and jam with us for half an hour. They're all worth something, right? And they all have, in my opinion, they all have equal value. You know, I think that when and I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm going to say it this way. When I when I get to a point where I think that I've made it in the podcast sphere, it's going to be when I'm on the On the Screws podcast. When I get an opportunity one of these days to be on the On the Screws podcast, I'm going to message my mom and say, "Mom, I've made it." One of these days. One of these
You know
days.
what? You know what? Maybe that's next Friday. Maybe I just record this and I get a copy and we just pop it up there. Because
Save yourself a little bit of work, maybe.
I have been
So let me-
gooning Mac about
Yeah.
that for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I will continue to goon Mac about that for many, many more.
Come on anytime you want, man.
And
Anytime
you say
want.
that all the time, but you know what? I never get the invitation.
You don't
never
what do you
get
need
that
an
invite.
invitation
It's,
for.
it's a
Because-
freestanding invite.
But see, this is the thing. Like I reached out to Mac here. I reached out to you, Mike. You know, come on or do our 50. You know, one of these days I'm going to open up my Instagram chat, and there's going to be a little notification up in the right, and it's going to be On the Screws podcast. Hey guys, we'd love to have you on the episode. Let's set up a date and time to do this. One of these days it's going to happen, and man, I am going to feel like I've made it at that point. Like we're in the podcast sphere now. Like we've been recognized. Chris
It's
and,
really
Chris,
cool.
Chris and myself have been in the sphere now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm going to goon you, Mac, forever on that. And I don't care if you invite us on or not, but forever I'm going to goon you on that.
All right, Mac, I'm going to come clean for you, buddy. Okay, guys, the reason why he hasn't invited you because he's got to make the space big time enough for you guys. All right, he's putting in the flooring, the acoustics.
There we go.
The whole
I mean,
deal.
if Alvin's head gets any bigger, it's not going to fit through the door.
It's like 9 p.m, and this guy's busting his ass because he's like, I gotta get Mulligans and Hackers.
Still working on his flooring.
I gotta get this all figured out.
Is it
Sorry,
just-
Mac.
is
I
it
didn't
just
mean to
locking-
out you. But
Alvin, I just wanted to be at a point where I could afford a personal jet, fly a PJ out to you, send it to you to pick you up, bring you to the studio, so we could record. Okay, I didn't. Yeah. Honestly, though, Alvin, I give you that. Like, that's a true like. That's a true podcaster's like, or like that's almost like a political like bullshit answer you just had there. So congratulations, because that was a perfect way to spin it and attack one of your guests. That was pretty good.
I love it.
It was solid. I have no comeback. So that was solid.
Yeah, we can segue away from that now because that's going in. That's going to be gold for the podcast. So, Chris,
I don't know. We've had some really cool guests. I mean, I think I love the fact that working with Mike, we go with the 36 a day hats is super cool. I mean, I still use the red rooster gloves all the time, and I mean we had Carrie on early on, which was super cool. We've had some really cool
digital creators,
some guests on there. I've missed some this year, obviously, because we've had a busy schedule. But I mean, I think the Dansome was a super cool one to have on. That one was pretty cool. He's pretty big in the social media sphere, so that was pretty neat. Some of the the long drive and like the
Lori
Alberta
Blanco.
Golf Tour on here.
That one was cool.
Like
Again, that was our first, I guess, golfer. Even if it was just long drive, like Lori Blanco came on, and that was a fun chat. I mean, because again, not knowing anything about long drive, just getting that little intro into it was sweet, right?
There's been so many. I mean, so many for us. They're all big because I mean, obviously we're we're not in the infancy anymore, but we're kind of in the toddler stage of podcasts at this point of our lives. And I mean, we're recording our 50th here, and I mean, we're just really getting started. I think our social media, like the way it's exploded, I mean, Alvin has done a great job of connecting with people on there all the time and, setting up guests and keeping engaged with people and reaching out to people. And I mean, reaching out to people that I would have never even thought to reach out to, like some of the professional golfers just say, hey, good luck this weekend, or, different things, and getting feedback from guys. And it's like, it's crazy because when we started this, we're two schmucks who just took up golf. I mean, I started golfing 3 years ago. I'll go off left-handed, I golf with a left-handed grip. I golf cross-handed, and I'm just some guy who wants to try and pretend like I know how to play golf and talk about it once in a while on a podcast. When Alvin came to me with the idea, I was like, sure, man, why not? Who's gonna listen to it? The biggest takeaway for me has been the people that listen to it, like the viewership and the people that listen to our podcast worldwide. Like some of the people like in Europe and all in different places, I'm just like, that's mind blowing to me. Like mind blowing.
I don't know, like Mac, your podcast has been around a long time and is a a little bit more influential podcast, I would say. Is it strange for you when you see I don't know if you do go and look at your analytics or anything like that, but like I looked at our analytics today and we New Zealand, Sweden, Germany, like downloading our podcast, it actually doesn't even correlate that, like on the other side of the pond, something like that would happen. Like somebody in Germany or somebody in New Zealand, for Christ's sakes, would download our podcast to give it a listen.
It's mind blowing to me. I mean, we've learned the game of golf, right? We've kind of wandered our way through it. We've made friends in the industry now on social media with like you and Mike and Brandon and a couple of the other guys that we talk to all the time. But it's never did I think that it would. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to take off right away because it's one of those things that like it takes time to get hold, right? So we knew it would take a couple years. But I mean, even at the speed of growth that we're growing at now, it's just, to me, I'm kind of like, it's so cool to kind of watch it expand. And I mean, for two guys that we're learning on the fly, really learning on the fly here. I mean, it's really cool to watch it expand and go, and just the support we've got from everybody. I mean, everybody that we talk to all the time, everybody that's been willing to give up their time to come and either talk to Alvin and I, or just Alvin. It's super cool. It's been a fun ride and been fun to be a part of.
So Mac, back to the question about analytics. Do you actually check any of your analytics?
So two parts. No, like not anymore. No. So the odd time for like certain things, I'll look it up and check it. But I have seen, like, I'll go in and it'll give you like 2% downloads from like Italy or something, and then you look it up and there's like, people that have like downloaded it. Now, obviously that just means it gets into like, it's a good thing. It means it gets into like the Spotify or Apple Podcasts algorithm or something like that. The only analytics I really check is like Spotify versus Apple, those types of things, to see like where we're at there. And then, as you guys know, like we're trying to like upload to YouTube, like what we do upload to YouTube every week. That can be like, some episodes do really well, some episodes there's like no one that watches it. It's kind of like it's
its
really
own animal. And again, we're figuring out the YouTube thing as well,
right?
Like, because all our podcasts go up on YouTube, and again,
yeah.
So this month, we've hit some milestones this month. So we hit 100 subs on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We hit 2K followers on Instagram.
Good stuff,
and it's our 50th episode this month. So we've had some milestones this month that just kind of all kind of came together all in one month.
That's cool.
And again, so in that 2K follower vein, we actually put out a video a little while ago that when we hit 2K followers on Instagram, we were going to do a giveaway.
Yep.
And we're going to do a giveaway, and it's going to be a 36 a day giveaway. So this isn't anything on you, Mike. This is all us. But we've got your hat. And now that we've hit 2K, the line that you put out this year for this summer, the trucker hat, the white hat, and the bucket hat, we've got one of each. If you're on YouTube, you can see this, but we've got one of each that we're going to do a giveaway on Instagram, and we're going to give away the 3 hats as a package to some lucky gal who follows our Instagram page. So
Love that.
That's coming up here. We'll make that announcement this week on our socials. So we're going to do that as a hit 2K followers. It's wild.
Thanks, guys. But congrats on hitting the milestone. That's and I wrote to you. I said the first 2,000.
Yeah. And again, so we don't know how long this is going to go. I mean, I'm going to play golf until I can't.
Yeah.
It's my.
You might have less time than me though. He is pretty old. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. But and me and Chris, like when we started this, we didn't know where we were going to go in this whole golf sphere or anything. We just wanted to play a lot of golf, and the last few years we played a ton of golf, like over 100 rounds every year. It's just absolutely mind blowing. But we moved courses this year, so we went to a par 72 this year instead of the par 66 that we played the last 3 years.
Yep.
So we went to a big boy course this year because we want to play our golf game. Not that we're scratch golfers or anything, but we wanted that challenge of playing a larger course. And in that vein, we joined the Alberta Golf Tour, which is an amateur tour here in Alberta.
Excited about that.
And we've signed up for our first 2 events, and we're going to go play an amateur tour. So amateur tournament. That's something I don't know 3 years ago if I ever thought we would do something like that. Because we play in some scrambles. We have our own Mulligans and Hackers tour that we do with our buddies and our friends, and we compete against us. But it is going to be genuinely a different experience to go and play in an actual amateur event.
Competitive golf, it's like an exam that I am never prepared for. It is, I swear to God, it's such a unique beast. You see things that, and it doesn't even have to be you, but like your playing partners, you're like, oh, I've never seen that before. The very first Club C I did at my course, saw a guy 4-putt from 8 feet.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm like,
I feel like I've done that before.
What is going on here? Like,
we've all been there, Mike.
Yeah. Oh no, I've.
But it's almost like you're under that microscope, right?
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like that was it, right?
I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, the first one we're doing is June 1st, which is here at Desert Bloom, so we don't have to go anywhere. It's they actually came down here. It was almost like Leah threw us a bone, or Leah threw us a bone. I mean, it's down at Desert Bloom, a course that we have a residual membership at, so we'll get out there a couple times before the tournament and just have fun. I'm excited because we've got our golf that we've played in our tour the last couple years, and when we first started, you could definitely feel the pressure because it's like now we're playing for something, right? Like just bragging rights, but we're actually playing for something. And then as it's kind of gone on, you kind of get settled into that because you're like, I know everybody I'm playing against. It's all good. Like you just get comfortable. Now these fields can be as many as 70 people and the different flights, right? And you're flighted by your handicap and whatever else. And it's just like, oh, okay. Like, what are your expectations? Absolutely nothing. I'm going to go play golf and see what happens. Just going to try to play the best round that I can put in that day. And away you go.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's so cool. Have you played competitive, Mac?
Yeah, so like the one story that I always tell is like the OFSA championships. So Chris, this is like our provincial championships for golf here in high school.
Yep.
And I remember shooting an 18-stroke difference on back-to-back days. So golf will get a hold of you, man, when you're nervous. So I was playing at Royal Ashburn, which used to be called Thunderbird here, Mike, if you know that one. So that had a PGA Tour Canada stop once upon a time. So it opens with a par 5. And on the first day, I opened with a 3. And on the second day, I opened with a 9. So,
jeez.
Yeah.
That's how it goes, I guess.
That's golf, man. That's just how it goes. And that's just, I remember like after the first day shooting like a really solid round. And then the second day, I played my way out of it. But it's just how golf goes. It's really how it goes. I think I was in like grade 9 at the time too. I was pretty young. So I was pretty lights out the first day. But yeah, second day, not great, not a good day. So that's kind of golf. When you play competitive golf, those things are going to happen. But I don't play anything competitive at all. I play for money with like my buddies, and even that gets a little too much at times. So I usually just like to, man, I'm a pretty casual golfer now. I just like to have a good time. Like it doesn't
I
matter
just
what I shoot. I'm always having fun. I
Yep.
will golf with anybody,
for
anytime.
for me and specifically, and probably Chris as well, like we want those experiences because we've never had these experiences in golf. We've
Yeah,
we've done things outside of golf that you know pressure and I used to play in bands and I used to be on stage in front of lots of people, and it never really bothered me a lot, that part of it, because I knew what I was doing, and I was in my own zone enjoying what I was doing,
right.
right? So but the experience of going and playing golf things now, like going and playing in an amateur tour, going and playing some scrambles, we've had it in our minds for the last few years of doing that RBC scramble.
That'd be fun.
Right, that would be highly
Yeah,
entertaining, right?
That
That would
would
be
be so
something,
much fun.
right? Just getting into that and just experiencing that, experiencing an amateur tour, experiencing some others, experience traveling and going and playing golf maybe
yeah,
outside of Canada. Like all this stuff for us now is on the plate, and it's exciting. And we're here now in our third year. We have our the milestones that we've gotten, but in playing golf, there's so much more that I'm looking forward to. Like even this summer, like we joined a new course. We've played 3 rounds there so far, and yeah, we got some work to do, right? But
yeah.
just everything is a step. Like this next step in golf, the next step in golf, the next step in golf, and
I
I
think
don't
it's a
know.
great idea, Alvin, to start with like a tour like you guys are doing, like with Leah's tour, the Alberta Golf Tour, right? I think that that's
100%.
such a
100%.
great idea.
Well,
It's
you
such a
just play in as many events as you want, right? Like you can play one,
yeah,
you can
and
play
you
five, you
you
can.
Yep.
pay your entry. She's like, it's professionally run. They have tours like that here as well. And it's just like you show up, you get to enjoy the game. Everybody's playing like on the same level when you base it off handicaps and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's just like it's meant to be a competitive but enjoyable experience, which I think
Exactly.
you guys are
Yeah.
gonna love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like we're just totally jacked. Like
Yeah.
I think it was this week you came in and saw me in my office and was like, "Are we doing anything for Mulligans and Hackers?" And I'm like, "I got so much other stuff on my mind. I didn't
Whoa,
even
whoa,
think.
whoa,
Stay
guys, don't
tuned.
say
The
I
anything.
didn't.
schedule is coming. I
I
did do
didn't.
Yeah.
one up.
I didn't even think of like doing our Mulligans and Hackers tour because all this other stuff is going on, and I'm trying to get mentally prepped for all of that. And I was like, "Dude, you're gonna have to do a schedule, man, because I got nothing left in the tank for that."
So there is a schedule coming. I've cut it down, I think, to 9 events with the Tour Championship, 9 or 10 events with the Tour Championship. So we wanted to go a little lighter on that, but still something so that we can kind of keep it going, right? Because we don't have time to do 20.
But
Because we're trying to do different
Yeah.
things.
because we've
Right.
got the 2 Alberta Golf Tour dates. We've got other tournaments that we've played for the last few years that we still want to do in the summertime. The Halo,
Yep. Halo Scramble. Yep.
the Halo Scramble down
Charity
at Cottonwool, because Halo is pretty big for me and my family, so we always like to be in that one. Then there's tournaments at our new course that we would like to get into, and there's tournaments back at Cottonwood that we still like to do. So we have in the summer we have all this stuff that we're still trying to do, right? Like all we want to do a Mulligans and Hackers tour, but we've added so much stuff to our actual schedule in the summer. It's like, well, we got to fit it in somewhere.
It's a lot. It's a lot to juggle.
So I put it in on his plate to make a schedule for that.
Yeah,
and we'll get that
because
in.
I don't got enough on my plate anyways. But yes, I figured it out. So going back to the mental part of the golf game, it's interesting because I mean, I said when we play on the AGT, it's going to be I want to just play our game and do our best. It's funny because we have a mindset coach that we use all the time for volleyball because we've discovered that if you're talented enough to be on our team, the difference is up here. The difference between winning and losing is all up here. And like we had a mindset session with him on Thursday going into this weekend. And usually we practice that day. We decided, you know what, we practiced early in the week. We'd have a mindset session on Thursday. So we had a mindset session. We had great results this weekend. He actually coached golf at the college here and won multiple national championships. So when I talk to him, it's like I kind of get like a little sliver, a little insight into like the mental intuitive golf. A lot of his stories are based around like his golf team and different things like that. So I really feel like that helps me when I step on the golf course. Because I mean, I don't just now I don't ever just go out to play a round of golf. Like I'm always working on something. I might go out there and be like, I'm probably not going to shoot a great score today, but I want to work on my driver today. I want to work on my wedges, or I want to work on whatever. But I don't always go out with a purpose for a round. Some days I'm like, I want to go out today and I want to score well. So we're going to try and we're going to score well. Some days it works, some days it doesn't work. And I mean, you know, or you go out and you're like, I want to focus on putting today. I mean, he was talking the one day about on Thursday. He was talking about their golf team at the college and like how everyone always complains about the weather, right? And he's like, we had a rule. He's like, we don't talk about the weather. We can't change the weather. We just accept it. Well, everybody's over here huddled talking about how crappy the weather is. We're like, we're just happy to be here to play golf. And that helped them win multiple national championships, right? So it's interesting, just the different mindset and the different dynamics. I mean, so that's kind of a little leverage that I found via coaching, because I get to sit in on those sessions and I feel like I can run through a wall after I'm done in an hour session with him. And it's helped my mental ability on the golf course as well.
I really don't need him being any mentally stronger when we play against each other, because that is an area of my game that lacks, is the mental acuity. I'm getting better, but I don't have any of this coaching shit that goes on outside of the golf game like some people do. So
you know what? You get
I'm working on it myself, and I'm doing quite well. We actually played 18 holes last weekend before the snow fell again here. You know,
Saturday and Sunday.
Our fifth winter or something had here.
Yeah.
I missed one fairway out of the 18 holes. Or the 14 holes.
That was the Sunday, right?
That was the Sunday.
Yeah.
I missed one fairway, and that ball, the fairway that I missed, was in the first cut, just off. So off the tee box this year, starting, I am money. Now
ask him how many greens he hit.
Now, so I'm in every fairway. I hit 3 greens in reg. So there's an area of the game there that definitely needs some attention, right?
And I swear to God, you can go out next week and that could totally flip.
Right?
At least that's my game, right? It's like rolling dice, and
oh man, it'll drive you nuts.
Yeah.
Right. But again, I was really happy with that. Just money off the tee box. We're talking 250, 260, maybe 270 off the tee box. Always in the fairway. It's what a way to go. Start your year. And again, we're just at the beginning here, so we'll start our second season here now. Probably Wednesday this week we'll start our second season, because I woke up Wednesday morning with a nice layer of snow on the ground again.
Yeah.
Southern Alberta weather, man.
I was gonna play Heritage.
That's golf, Alvin. It's golf, buddy. It can only go downhill from here. So
thanks, pal. I really appreciate
that. That's life. That's
definitely building up my mental strength here.
I've been playing long enough to know that it's probably not going to get better. I'm not going to lie to you. It's probably...
I was going to play Heritage Point in Calgary on Friday, but obviously the weather changed, right? So some of the outdoor places were actually open. I think it was 4 degrees when we got into there on Friday. But instead we went to the simulator. We played Augusta National. And it was so fun. The greens are amazingly tough there. And simulator golf is like playing a video game sometimes. But I went 13 under, and I had 3 birdies in a row.
What?
Yeah.
Holy smokes!
Was it on easy?
No, man. Dude, I lipped 3 putts, lipped them, and it sent me 20 feet away from the hole. And I'm like, okay. I have a picture of the scorecard. So
when I play indoor golf, it's 2-putt max, 12-foot gimme range, because I'm not there to putt. It actually drives me insane. It's just I want to work on my swing. Mm-hmm. The closer I get to the green,
we play on 100 and I think it was 150 centimeter gimmies. We were playing at Augusta, so we spent a lot of time putting, because it's like and some of the pin placements were friggin' ridiculous. But I've really made a concentrated effort this year. My goal has been to get my driver consistent, because if I can get my driver consistent with my wedge play and my continued work with my short game, I really feel like I have an opportunity to put up some really good scores at Medicine Hat. And at Augusta, I hit a few balls that were over 300 yards, and for me, I usually hit like 265, 270, and with a little bit of a draw or a slice on it. So I was hitting a lot of, I found my driver swing and what it feels like in my slot. So, and that's what I've been working on early in the season. Like we went out and had a couple of rounds last weekend on the golf course, and I shot in the 90s, and I'm like low 90s, and I'm like, I'm not really happy with the scores, but I mean, I'm not really trying to score because if I was, I'd use a 6 iron off the tee box and hit it 200 yards and just play
Yeah.
smart. But I'm trying to figure some stuff out early on in the season, right? So it's yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there. We played Augusta National on Friday.
Yeah, thanks.
Can
Appreciate it.
can I go back a little bit and answer Mike's question? So Mike asked earlier about have you like was there ever a time where you were like you felt like you made it big, right? Mike, is that about it?
Yep.
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 So like Alvin and Chris, I feel kind of the same. I don't know that I've like had that big moment yet or anything like that. I don't know that I ever like really would. We're working on something for episode 200, which would be like really cool for me. I don't know what that feeling would be like, but I found one of the coolest things for us is we're a lot of first people's podcasts. Like it's the first time they're on a podcast. And there's a lot of nerves like at the start, kind of like Alvin mentioned, is nerves, right? And then it's just you get in, you just end up having this like really cool organic conversation with somebody about golf, or you know, hopefully it'll lead somewhere else. So it made me think of this like one conversation that I had with Monica Living. So she was world long drive champ last year, and like super smart young lady. And then like Bryce and I and her, we got talking about like wolves being released into Colorado and just a bunch of random stuff after. And it was kind of like it was her first ever podcast, and she was so nervous and she did amazing. And it kind of made me think of like, you know, I chat with her all the time now, and I chat with like different people all the time based on that. And it's just having that first like, you know, conversation, and then you build friendships from there. So I think that's even more fulfilling than maybe getting like, I'm not going to say Tiger Woods or something because that would be super cool, but like, you know, but it's like it's such a cool experience to like have that first for somebody. Like they get to share like a new experience with you, and then you have such a great time having that conversation with them. So Mike, I have a bit of spin on this. Is there ever been like a moment where you've either had somebody like purchase a hat, or you've seen somebody wearing a hat, maybe like out in public, or you saw someone who you're like, oh my God, like that person is wearing my hat? Has there been that moment for you yet, Mike?
Thanks a lot. So having exhibited at the Toronto Golf Show the last couple years, it would have been the very first year this woman came by, and she goes, "Oh my God, I love these hats. I'm gonna buy a couple." And I'm like, "Hey, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it." She goes, "No, no, I'm leaving tomorrow for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and I'm gonna wear these
Oh,
the
that's awesome.
entire weekend." And I'm like, oh, just if you don't mind, shoot me a couple pics. I'll put them on social. She's like, absolutely. So I was pretty chuffed about that. Then all of a sudden, the tournament's on TV, and my phone blows up. I got about 4 or 5 buddies. It's like, I just saw your hat on TV. Like, so she was at the it would have been that crazy hole, right? Like the 16th hole
Yep,
and all
yep. I know which one you're talking about. The one where
like
they
right
go Rosh it or out.
yeah, like right in the first row, and all the Canadian guys walk through. And I guess CBS kind of panned up, and there was a whole host of Canadians, but she's in the front row and she's got the hat on. So I go back and because I'm half watching the episode, and so that was very cool. That was
That would be super.
yeah, yeah. It's I mean, things are going well. It's progress is it's not a race. Just continually trying to improve the product and make sure that people that are wearing them are really happy about them. We sold almost 1,000 hats so far this year, which I just think it's like
Wow,
really
good for you,
crazy. Like
Mike.
I'm just
That's
like, come
amazing.
on, that's
That is amazing.
yeah. Now also starting to think about almost like the sports equivalent of a third jersey. So I'm going to develop a logo that deviates away from the maple leaf, and it's going to be a play on the 36, and try and introduce that a little bit too. So and when that comes out, I'll drop them by for you guys to check out. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been nice. I guess that maybe that's the similarity for yourselves, where
Of
you're
course.
you're 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 starting to build connections with folks and engage in conversations. And while it's a hat business, it's really more relationship building. And I'm enjoying that a lot. It's been fun to get to know golfers, some of whom it almost doesn't really matter. It's like, whether or not they're famous or anything like that. It's just we all have a passion for the game and we can approach it and enjoy it from our own space. So yeah, I'm excited about the years to come, and things have been pretty positive so far.
I've asked you this before, Mike, but any plans on releasing a like polo shirt line? I think I asked you this the last time we chatted on a podcast. Any avenue there?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for asking again, Alvin. I'd like to dip my toe into the apparel market for next year. And I would suspect by like a year from now, I should have a polo mocked up. I've got an idea for kind of like a mock neck, and it's really just focusing on the material. But I should have it ready for the fall. I'm gonna introduce a couple hoodies, and I realize I wear them all the time. Like and while I'm getting a little older, I still, it's like, I think I could wear this golfing. Like it's comfortable, it's not intrusive. So I'm gonna roll a couple color options out later in the fall. I'll be ready before the holidays. So,
Cool.
and we'll just see where it goes. Everything's market driven, right? So if folks love it, I'll make more. And if they don't, then I'll have like all kinds of hoodies in my collection.
Then you got limited edition.
There we go. Yeah.
We actually just had personally, and I've let Chris know, we've had our first conversations with a manufacturer on having Mulligans and Hackers merchandise as well for the first time, being able to go online and purchase it. So that's kind of in the works for us as well. Again, I know nothing about this process, so it's slow, it's arduous, and again, it might not even be this year, but the conversations have started because. Yeah. Again, we get asked for that every now and then. It's like, hey, do you guys have polos? And like, I want nothing to do with making merchandise, guys. Nothing. We did two
orders.
We did 2 pre-buys in our first 2 years, and the amount of time that shit takes up in your daily routine, I want nothing to do with that. When it comes to getting your shirts, getting the logo on them, getting them out, getting the money, getting the out to the people who ordered them. Nah, not this guy. No, it takes a special individual. Kudos to you, Mike, for getting involved in that type of stuff, because I've seen on a very small dose of what that is. I want nothing to do with that. If we're going to release a merchandise line, somebody else is dealing with all of it.
Yeah, there's a ton of options, right, Mack? You've made the foray into some merch for on the screws. So
it's I think I share kind of the same sentiment as Alvin. It's like, no, don't get me wrong. Like I had something like somebody was wearing one of our sweaters at the Valspar, like really cool, and like I only do like select pieces and stuff like that. I'll like try one and then I'll give it to somebody. Like, but I never end up like creating a line of anything. I find it to be very, very difficult. So I see what Alvin's saying. I feel the same way. I think it's extremely like time consuming. And then like Mike, you put in the research. You have to be able to understand what people like. You can't just go with what you like necessarily, right? Like it has to be something that you like, but also other people enjoy. So it's like there's a lot of like research that has to go into it. And I think a lot of other people just do it a lot better than I can or do. But I think the idea for us is like we're working with like a brand now. The idea would be to maybe collaborate at some point in the future. The brand that we're working with right now is Full Wedge, which is a really great Canadian brand.
excellent.
And hopefully one day, we could drive enough interest to maybe like do some type of collaboration with Andrew over at Full Wedge, who's the owner there. He's an amazing guy, and do something like that. I think.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that would be the idea.
Yeah.
Somebody else who's like good at it, like yourself in this space, right? So
everybody has their niche, right?
Yeah.
Merchandise, definitely not my niche. No way.
Definitely
No,
not. Definitely not.
I've certainly come to realize I'm more stubborn than talented, right? Like I am just, it's persistence. Like I'm just really willing to reflect on it and kick at it and ask people, like ask questions. I think the thing I'm really proud about is I don't fall in love with a concept. And maybe that's like I'll ask people like, what do you think of this? What do you like? What don't you like? The whole thing about the golf and travel show circuit, and I've done the Toronto one and then the Niagara one for a couple of years, and I'd like to start to expand. It's a listening tour. It is a massive listening tour because golfers are not shy, whether it's what they say or their body language or just simply the act of coming to look at it or purchasing. They're always they're always letting me know what they think, which I really need and appreciate right now. That's really important. So I
I'll give
really
you, Mike, I'll give you a little bit of insight because I have a bunch of your hats and I have a bunch of the original multicolored leaf ones.
Yes.
So I wear your black hat with the white maple leaf. I've been stopped 3 times on a golf course wearing that hat going, that hat is absolutely fabulous. That hat is one of my faves. And I wear your hats all the time, but it's the first time, and again, it's the only hat that I've worn out playing golf or even in public. Because, once it was in a store. It was in the meat section. We were buying steaks, and a guy comes over to me, and he just puts his hand on my arm, and he goes, that hat is gorgeous. Just wanted to say, and he just kind of walked away. I was like, cool. Right? I know you're in the store, you're not. But a couple other times on the golf course, that hat gets recognized.
I like it.
Alvin, did you like kind of sexualize that in the meat section somehow?
You know what?
It
kind of came to me like after I said
novel.
it.
That's right.
Like this sounds like a man's romance novel right here. This is amazing. Narrated by Alvin. That's pretty good. I like it.
Well done. And you know what, Mac? I would expect that type of drop in from you. Really, I would, because all the rest of us would have just segued away from that and wouldn't have brought that up. But you're that guy. You're the guy that would drop that in there. I really appreciate that, pal.
I am fortunately and unfortunately both those guys. Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome.
That's fabulous.
So what are some of the things, Mike, that you're working on? Like you're kind of talking about like the shirt line, hoodie, stuff like that. Do you have anything else right now? Like I know you've kind of posted a couple things recently with different type of logos.
Yep. Trying to, the idea of a USA star. I've been really that's a nut that I've been trying to crack for a while because I love the original one that I developed, but everybody comes up to me and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan." Like, so there's this correlation between the color and the way in which the star is positioned. So I did some that similar to where the maple leaf is tilted the US star. So you kind of get away from that with some color variations. But I like the play. Like what I'm thinking of doing is 36 with 3 circles around it to represent the albatross. I've never gotten an albatross in my life. It's probably one of the rarest scores, but the circles I would make red, white, and blue. So,
that's actually a really nice.
I think that's a nice design.
Visualizing it's a nice concept.
Yeah, and it'll be the equivalent of the 3rd jersey, right? It'll be a secondary logo that for folks that are like, why does everything have a maple leaf on it? It's like, well, okay, now not everything has to have a maple leaf on it.
Well, again, if you're going to try and break into that American market, something has to be geared towards that market as well, right?
100%. But some of the initial conversations, my partner's who's based in Florida, and he talked to folks about the star, and it's like, star's beautiful, but people, that there isn't maybe it's something about us in as Canadians and our um,
Canadian pride.
patriotism aligns to golf, where it's like I'm proud to wear this maple leaf all the time on the course and around the community. It's a little it's a little less overt for Americans sometimes. Sometimes no, sometimes yes, but having a different logo may work for some courses where it's like, I don't, they don't want the star. And maybe even the same in Canada too, right? So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited about the hoodies. And when the shirt comes out, again, it's, everything's going to be market driven. We'll see where it goes.
Mike, how do you do like your all your digital work? Do you do it yourself or do you source it out?
I source it out. I source it out.
Okay.
I'll play around on Canva and do like what I call a disaster draft, because it's a fairly good resource to get something that's passable, right?
Okay.
It doesn't look like a grade six, or like a 6-year-old's art project. It has a little bit of polish to it. And then I'll take it to my embroiderer, and they've got a creative department, and they'll do the initial vector file and do up a mock-up. The great thing about the leaf, and Alvin, you mentioned the feedback you've gotten on the white maple leaf. I could take that design and do it any color. There was the Masters one. I think you've got that up near the Masters flag right behind you there. There's a ton of options. I mean, there's just a whole host. Yet, I've got a custom order. I've found a sourcing agent. I'm going to go direct to manufacturer, and all I'm doing is getting blank hats now. I'm going to get a number of blank hats and just make them on demand, whether it's the small maple leaf on the side, something on the front, that new, that new 36 logo. Exactly. Yeah, it's a whole host
Blank
of
hat.
options, right?
So you know what would look really good, like right here on off to the side, a Mulligans and Hackers logo,
100%.
right?
100%.
Right above
That'd
that
be
one and on the Screws Podcast logo, just above theirs.
well,
Love that.
it something to reflect on, guys. I mean, as you're starting to explore your own options for apparel, and Mac full wedge is like, they make great stuff. And I want
Yeah,
to
they have
stay in my
really
lane, right? Like, I don't want to compete with the big boys from an apparel standpoint, but I'd like to try and create hats that folks would be happy to wear, proud to wear, and that would perform well for golf. So, and you could do limited runs for you guys if you're hosting, you know, any kind of events or anything like this. And this isn't the time to put in a bit of a plug, but yeah, no,
There's always time for that.
There's always time for a plug.
no, it's yeah, just it's more really whatever folks are looking for. Yeah.
right.
So
Now, what about you guys, Alvin, Chris? Are you what's up with you guys? Are you guys like expanding the podcast in any way? I know you're trying to drop a few more episodes now and again, but are you guys trying to develop it at all, or are you kind of focusing on golf now for the season?
No, well, we plan on still dropping one every Monday now. So there will be no season 4 of Mulligans and Hackers. The season thing will be put to bed after episode 50 here. So as we go on now, it'll be episode 51, 52 with a title,
Brilliant.
probably our guest title or whatever. But we're still going to try now. Again, we don't know how it's going to work out. I really don't, but I really still want to drop one every Monday.
Yeah.
We've gotten good traction dropping on Monday, even though it's Mondays and Mondays are a slow day. We'll take that Monday slot as podcasters dropping on Monday.
Yeah, Monday at 2:00 Eastern.
Right? Like we'll take that slot
awesome.
if nobody else wants it, right? Like, somebody will download a podcast on Monday, and apparently they do because again, we're getting traction, right? So we're going to try and still continue dropping one on Monday. Because when we did seasons, we always did, the summer was us talking about our golf, the winter was us having guests on. Well, we still got a docket. I still got a notepad full of people that want to come on the podcast, people that I've asked and people that I've asked to come on. So over the summer now, and I don't know how it's going to work out. I have no idea because this is again, it's all new territory for us, just like our golf. Me and Chris, we're gonna do episode 51. It's just going to be me and Chris talking about what we're doing, which we've done a little bit on this episode with our golf. We're going to talk about where our golf is at that time. But we're going to get guests on over the summer now. It's kind of going to be just a rolling thing. One Monday it's going to be me and Chris. Another Monday it's going to be us with a guest or myself with a guest, and that's kind of how the podcast is going to. We might miss Mondays here and there because we're out of town or we're doing a tour, but we might even just do like when we go to our first AGT event, we might just sit down, do 15-20 minutes from there, just to give that initial, we're showing up. It would be nice to sit down and just have a quick live thing with Leah from
totally intimidate the field too.
Right?
The field will they'll just be. They won't know what to think of you guys. Yeah,
they'll crumble.
Just go grab some scratch golfer that just lost by a stroke and grab him and do a quick interview on the 18th with him, right? Stuff like that. I don't know what we're gonna do with this, but I do really want to get more video from the golf course though, like of us playing, because that's something that's really, since we've started this, that's really lacked. Is that on course stuff?
But we're gonna be walking more, and we have the mounts on our carts, right? So we can put it on and just go play, and then cut the video after, right?
I'm hoping to get more of that done, but the podcast is just going to keep going here. There's, we've got an episode in the bag here. This is going to be episode 50. Me and Chris is going to do episode 51, and then from there it might be a guest next after that. It might be me and Chris again. I don't know, but we're going to keep. Do our best to keep dropping them every Monday now, and because
that's great, guys.
It's been, again, this is the stages where you go with the pod. Like I remember, like season 1 when me and Chris started this, and it was just us talking about our crappy golf that we were doing. I think we got like 7-9 episodes or something, and then we did the guest episodes in the winter, and I think we only had like 3 or 4 in that first year. Again, that's you're getting your feet wet. Well, here we are 3 years later, and now we have guests lined up, and we're on episode 50, and
I think we've done 20. I want to say this season, which will be after 50 is obviously going to bed, but this season I think we've done like 25 or 26 episodes if you count our season episodes along with our with our guest episodes. It's like 25 or 26 episodes this season. So it's like basically half of what we've done in the last 6 months or a year. It's crazy.
And I don't think too much of where we'll be in the next 3 years, but I can look back at where we are now and go, wow, now we're in a different phase. I think it was somebody said to me, and it's a guy from another podcast that's local here, that it's the Sneaker Show podcast. Here's a shout out for them. And he's helped me a lot. Nathan has helped me a lot in the whole social media thing, just kind of navigating my way around social media. He's good at it. And he says, Alvin, because we talk about where our brands are, right? And he goes, Alvin, it sounds like you're at the beginning of the next phase of your growth, if that makes sense. So the first 3 years was us getting to a certain point, I guess, and now we're at the beginning of that next phase. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
yes.
So now you're in the sphere, and now it's the beginning of that. If that makes sense. So
I was explaining that to Mike and Adnan when we were at the golf show. Is like I'm kind of in that same sphere as well, if you will. Trying to take it more transition to more live podcasts. So every other week or so, trying to do live podcasts. So that's kind of a big difference. It's a lot more of an undertaking. It's a lot more work. But it's just really engaging as well. I love just kind of like going to meet people like at their home club or whatever it is. Like I went to Beverly to meet Elliot, Barry. I did a pod in like the middle of December on the patio at Copetown. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
yeah,
got a couple set up with like a shaft manufacturer. There's a couple other pro golfers that I'm going to see. I had one that just released I don't know when this one's going out, but with Keaton Bayed, so he's a pro golfer just like the other day. So really cool to like be able to sit down and have the conversation in person
Nice.
too as well if you can,
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of like a transitional piece for us as well.
Mac,
Yeah.
is that what makes it more work is kind of like traveling around? Because if it's being streamed like live, then you're I would assume you're cutting out some of the editing work at the moment. So it's
It's actually like three times the amount of editing.
really
Yeah, unfortunately. So there's a couple things I'm kind of working with a friend of mine and he's setting something up. Like there is AI for everything if you want to pay for it, right?
yeah.
So trying to set up some of those things, but yeah, there's a lot more editing that goes into it as well, which is kind of
Okay. All right.
so and it's trying to get like different camera angles and stuff like that, which is mainly
Gotcha.
the editing.
Okay.
And AI will do so much, but it doesn't quite humanize the podcast properly if that
Okay.
makes sense, right? So
Mm.
say you know there's like myself and Chris and Alvin and you sitting in a room and we're having like a conversation and we have a camera pointed at all of us. There is like an algorithm that like you can set up your mics to reach each camera and it'll kind of snap back and forth, but it like can look robotic, right?
Right.
So you
Okay.
want that organic experience that you're having in person, especially if you are to like show up that way. So
Got it.
the editing can
Okay.
be pretty tricky. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
honest question. You guys have forgotten more about podcasting than I'll ever know. So I'm it's
Mac
kind of
has.
I almost feel like I haven't learned
fascinating to
anything yet.
yeah. No, it's very cool. It's
Well, it can be like a rabbit hole, just like anything, Mike, like with what
yeah,
you might be going through, right? And like
yeah,
it's like for me, the podcasting, like chatting with people, scheduling, all of that stuff, I love doing that. Like I find that I love doing
right.
like I do all of the artwork myself. I love doing all that stuff. But the editing aspect of it and the camera work is very difficult for me. It's a new, completely like new experience. So almost every time I've set up a podcast, my camera's been the one that doesn't focus right. So I don't know if that has something to do with me, but at least it's me and not our guests or anything like that. So I've like spent countless hours working on how to like tweak that and I think I got it now. So
All
yeah,
right.
but yeah,
Cool.
so
It was no different because first when we started, Chris did all of the technical stuff,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of it. Like
So now it's like Alvin's like, "Okay, we're gonna release this podcast here. Can you upload it to our thing?" I did
our
all the
portal.
editing, whatever. I'm like, "Awesome!" I was like, "You just took all the work for that I had to do. That's terrific. Just send it to me when it's done, and or put it up on the YouTube page. I'll download it. I'll convert it to whatever file I need to convert it to, and then I'll upload it where it needs to be.
Yeah,
Easy peasy for me now.
I've gotten better at that of getting the episode again, like setting up. I mean, you guys, you've never seen the shit show that this has been in the past couple of years. Setting up cameras and microphones on our computers and shit not working, and me absolutely losing my mind and wanting to literally eat a computer. Right, just chomp down on it and go. Why won't you just work? We plug shit in; it should be plug and play, right?
Oh yeah.
But we've gotten way better at it, and just getting better at just everything is here. Just plug in a few chords and you're ready to go. But one thing I really would like to do this year, boys, I'd like to get for me and Chris to go to a golf course and do a podcast at a golf course. That would be cool.
yeah.
Like you say, Mac, there's some prep and some preparation and getting ready for something like that too. And for us, again, we've never done it, so there would be always be that, geez, is this shit gonna work? Because when we go do the AGT thing, so the first event we're doing is Desert Bloom, which is here. And then the next event we're doing is actually in Calgary at Mickelson National, which is a course I really want to play. And I'd like to do something from there with just like a laptop and a camera and a microphone, just me and Chris there and do 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, like at Mickelson National, right? That would be something cool. But we got a little bit of time to prep for that. So we might do something like that as well, right?
Yeah.
I'd like you, Mac. You get to a point where you want to go do live things. And I think for us, we may not do it a lot, but that's something we're going to work on too, is go somewhere. And it might be just me and Chris talking at the place, not necessarily with a guest, but just take it mobile as well.
Yeah, it can be like definitely overwhelming for sure, but it's worth it. I think it's a fun experience to be able to like sit down and have an in-person conversation as well. Not that virtual, like there's nothing wrong with having a virtual conversation like we are because we can't all be in the same place, right?
Right.
But
Right.
it's nice as well too though if you have the option to be able to do that. It takes a little bit more work, but it's fun too. It's like it changes it up a bit for you as well
Yeah.
too. Like I find like for me it kind of gives me the ability to change it up a bit and do something a little bit different too. So it's fun.
Well, you guys have all been doing this for a few years now, and I hope it's still fun for you because
You know, it's
it's
almost like part of my routine now of um, checking in on the podcast, making sure that I got stuff set up. It's almost like it's part of the daily routine now. Um, so it's become a part of my curriculum every day, if that makes sense. Like making sure
Yeah.
that like especially now, like we've dropped the podcast every Monday, like I said, since we started this in November. Um, I'll tell you a little story because again, for us being small, you know, you kind of I don't know if Mac, if this is something that you get into, but when you get to a point, it's like, okay, I need to get a podcast recorded this week to drop on Monday. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna set some podcast. We have to reach out to three, four, half a dozen people, and maybe we'll get one hit or whatever. And if we don't get any hits from those half a dozen, now we're into scramble mode where we're trying to corral somebody to come and do it, right? Um, so there was a spot time there in maybe January, late January, early February, where I was getting prepped for my next podcast, and I was like, you know, I just need to get one. I need to get one in the bag here so that I got it because I got one planned for after. And so I reach out to like four people, hoping that one of them will bite, right? And like,
I
and
remember this.
then right after another, yes, yes, and yes. I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, because I kind of say like, you know, can we do it on Saturday,
Did you do a
right?
multi-day that day or something like that?
Just wait till this plays out. So they were all like, yes. And it was like all for one Saturday. And I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna have to do three podcasts in one fucking day. Oh boy. And again, it was like, all right. And then you kind of reach out to them and go, yeah, okay. Because again, if they say yes, I don't want to go back to them and go, okay, well, can we delay it a week? You know,
right.
they've been good
They've
enough
already
to
said yes,
they've already
yeah.
said yes. I want to make this happen, right? So one of them was like, can we do it early morning? And they were from out east, and I was like, yeah, for sure. So, and the other one was like, mid afternoon is going to be when I can do it because I got some time away from the shop. And I was like, oh, mid afternoon, cool. And the other guest was like, it has to be late evening because I'm doing stuff. And I was like, oh, perfect. Morning, afternoon, and evening. So I turned the camera on at 7 o'clock in the morning for these three podcasts, and I turned the camera off at 9:45 in the night. And that was a whole Saturday of in between podcasts, getting a bite to eat. I went for a walk and did the next podcast, got a bite to eat, went for a walk, and come back. And that was my whole day. It was I did three podcasts in one day, and I was like, never fucking again. Will I set myself up for that type of
Yeah.
craziness?
I think that was just
I,
after. I think that was the Saturday after we went live. We talked from Vegas. Actually,
Actually, yeah,
I think
think you're
I
right.
was in
Yeah.
Vegas, and you did that one on the Saturday while I was gone.
Have you had something like that, Mac? Ever?
yeah, like I've had times where like we've definitely like Bryce and I have done like three or four in a day for sure. And then I've also had times where like we've had I've had one set up. I can think of like a time where I had one set up and somebody like messaged that morning. So I got somebody else for that evening. So I usually like to leave a couple days to edit. And that person had fallen through. And so you're just kind of like, you're in a bit of scramble mode at that time. And
Yeah.
it was like maybe an hour before that evening, like when Bryce and I were first originally going to plan, somebody reached out and asked to come on. We were like, oh, we actually had people bail out tonight. So it's like, it's always kind of worked out. But I did find early, I used to be very diligent about booking people and like booking specific days and stuff like that based on what their schedule was like. And I remember I had somebody reach out and I said, yeah, like we can do it. I gave them a date and it was like a little bit out in advance, right? And I remember there being like like their feedback like was not awesome that it was that far in advance, right? And they were like, oh, like I didn't realize like it wouldn't go out for that long or that we wouldn't record for that long. So it wasn't bad feedback at all, but it just made me think like, you know what, that sweet spot is trying to keep it, I think, because when you get a guest who's interested in coming on, they want to come on, have a conversation with you, enjoy the conversation, and then they want to be able to watch it. That's fun for them to share with their family, their friends, and anyone in their community as well. So that's what made me think I understood where they were coming from. That like if they're recording, they want to be able to watch it not 3 months down the road or not record 3 months down the road. So I understand that balance of trying to like kind of keep it within. I found the sweet spot to be between 1 and 3 weeks, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was when I recorded those three in one day. That was like the third podcast was going to be the third Monday after that.
Yeah.
And I made sure that they were okay with that. I was like, guys, this is what happened today, and they're like, yeah, for sure, no problem. So,
Yeah.
but now for us, me and Chris, now it's kind of like it doesn't really the guest part of it and setting up guests is we're gonna continue with that. But if a guest drops out, it's just going to be me and Chris just jumping on and BSing them now, right?
Well, I'm
So
talking about our golf
so
experience.
it gives us a little bit of flexibility now going forward with our episodes.
Right.
That we can have a guest, and then it can just be me and Chris, and
I'll be a lot more prominent again because my
yeah,
season's
for
coming
sure,
to a wind down,
which is
here,
cool
so.
too. Because again, we like to sit and bullshit about our golf and how badly he beats me every time we go out. You know
What do you mean? You beat me the first time out.
Yeah, I did. Did
Yeah,
I beat you the second time too?
No, you
No,
lost.
yeah,
Lost by
yeah,
2 strokes.
yeah.
You beat me by one the first day out.
You guys still go straight stroke play, right? No,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah,
no
straight stroke play.
handicaps or
Yeah.
nothing.
No.
I would love it if we played handicaps because mine's a little bit
What are you
higher.
at, 14-7?
14-2.
Well, I'm on 14-1. So it's
Oh.
like it's not that it's not
Really?
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the end of the
Sandbagger.
yeah, a little bit of sandbagging.
Holy smokes!
I should be able to get down to single digits. Is my goal this year. Like I feel like
14.
Yeah. It's just
What
because
have we stumbled upon here,
I've had some
Mike?
I'm
That's
blown
right.
away here.
because
like,
I've had some really, really bad rounds in there with my really, really good ones. It's kind of just stayed down there. So, but I put in every single round, right? Like I'm a guy that if I go out and I shoot 101 on a day because I'm playing like dog crap, well, it's going in there. I mean, if I go out there and I was hoping 74, it's going in there.
I was hoping we were going to be in different flights when we played on the tour.
We might by that time, but for right now, we're in the same flight. So it sucks to be you.
Damn it. And here he is out getting mental coaching and shit, and here I am still
Hey man,
being a slug.
I want to be rookie of the year. They have a kind of a President's Cup, Ryder Cup kind of thing.
Okay.
That'd be pretty cool to play enough events to be a captain if I just happen to win some events this year. I mean, you know me, I'm a competitor. I like to win everything.
Yeah,
I don't do something if I'm not going to try to win it.
Yeah, I get
I totally get it. Why play for fun when you can play to win?
Well, 100%, 100%, right? And I mean, you were talking about pressure earlier, and like and the nerves, like Alvin was saying on for the podcasting. I mean, like today I had incredible nerves because like we were in moments where just as a coach and as a player, as a golfer, you can control all that stuff because you're in the game. As a coach, it's like, here's my lineup. I have a couple subs maybe that I can make and a couple timeouts, but ultimately it's out of my hands and I got to trust you guys that you're going to execute, right? So it's such for me, I like to always be in control of my situation, my emotions, my approach to everything. And as a coach, you're not always able to do that because it's like you have to really trust and believe in the system that you've put in place for your players. It doesn't matter what sport it is, right? So I find that I get way more nervous as in a coaching aspect and as a parent when I watch my kids play than I do when I play golf or when I play volleyball myself or when I play golf. I'm just like, nah, you know what it is, man. If I go out there and I play the way I know I can, I'm fine. If I go out there and have a bad day, well, it is what it is. You had a bad day. You're not always going to be perfect.
That's only been about 5 years for me where, and I've never been a yelling on the course, throwing clubs kind of guy, but it was more the simmering boil for me where I'd be walking down the fairway and it would be this 90-second tirade, like just in my head, just berating myself. And now it's like this isn't going to affect my tour earnings or my world golf ranking. And I've been able to let a lot go and just really enjoy the game a lot more. So
Well,
same goal.
self-talk
I
makes
want
a
to get
big
down to
difference,
single
man.
digits. I'm playing off 12 and a half, although played last week and I played awful. So it's probably
It's
creeping up to
early
13.
season, early
Yeah,
season.
exactly.
We're all trying to work on things, right?
There is
But I
rust.
mean, you were saying you tirade yourself in between shots. I mean, I often don't show emotion, and like the last round we played, I chipped so bad. Like I was just, it's not normal of me, and I was
I actually made a comment to him.
so frustrated with myself.
I made a comment to him that he made one duff chip from behind a tree. I said,
Oh, it's so bad.
since we started golfing
So
together,
bad.
I have never, ever seen you make a chip like that. Ever since we've been, the hundreds of rounds that we've
Yeah,
played together,
it was just-
I have never seen a chip that bad from you.
It was not good. I mean, I had a couple moments where I like, kind of hat my club into the ground and just kind of let it go. But for the most part, it's just, I'm just like, oh well, you made a bad shot. Like you're gonna have to just recover. And I mean, sometimes you make a bad shot and you get a good bounce. Sometimes you make a great shot and you get a really shitty bounce. And it's just like you got to kind of take the good with the bad, right? But self-talk is, I learned early on that like you say, berating yourself down there about your shot. Well, like you say, you're not on the tour. What does it really have any bearing on your life? Well, it's going to affect your golf score today. Oh well, your wife's still going to love you. Your kids are still going to be there at home.
Yeah,
And
it's
everything's still going to be the same.
and I
Yeah.
play the game I enjoy the game, so I should enjoy the experience.
100%. And the experience is going to change every time out, as we know. Sometimes it's going to be really good. Sometimes it's going to be mediocre. Sometimes it's going to be bad. That's just the way it goes.
I'm in the process of learning to love the game.
Yeah. Gotta love the journey, right? Love the process.
Because
Good for you.
past couple of years, I can get really animated on the course, and it's funny because I coached hockey and I coached at a high level, like provincially and in Western Championships, and I don't show emotion on the bench. There is no emotion. It's just you deal with everything.
Yeah.
And I've it's stone cold on the bench. But put me on a golf course and put a golf club in my hand, and I am Wile E. Coyote on steroids.
And when he gets like that, you've won because it's awesome. It's like, well, there he goes, off the rails.
I mean, I have not. I got way better last year, but before, I was club tosser, I was a club smasher, I was a yeller and screamer, just an absolute lunatic. And in my mind, it's like, Alvin, you should be better at this game than you are, but I've never played the damn game.
It's like you got to remember you're not better. Like there's no point in getting upset. It's
Right.
like I say this to my buddies all the time. It's like you hit the ball to like 40 feet from the hole. Like what did you expect? Like it's just not where our games are, like not anymore anyway, or maybe they've never been there. And it's just kind of like you just got to be realistic with your golf game and your golf
The
goals.
game
And
is so bloody humbling. So this is one of the things that I found about the game, my game personally, is I can go out and shoot a personal best score on a Saturday, and you come home and you go, "Fuck, that was really good. I'm going to build on this tomorrow, and I'm gonna build on this score tomorrow." And there's zero chance, for me anyways, that I'm even remotely coming close to that score the next day. It is not happening.
Yeah.
And you talk about an 18-stroke swing, Mac. Yeah, you ain't getting within 10 strokes of that score you shot yesterday the next day. At least that's the way it is for me. I can't build on the game. The game just actually breaks me down. It's like
You have a hard time with consistency.
yeah. Again, I can shoot so last year I shot my first 9 holes under par. I was 1 under through 9, and I was like, I didn't try to say too much, and it was just me and one of our buddies playing in a group together, and I was like, everything worked that 9 holes. Best 9 holes I've ever played in my life. Everything was fairway, green, 2-putt, par, get out. Hit a couple birdies. It was like, oh my God. Make the turn to go to the next 9. I shot 12 over.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The game, and you know what? From the time I teed off that first tee on the second 9, I knew that everything I did the previous 9 holes was gone. It was absolutely gone. And there was no chance I was going to get it back for the rest of the 9. I played so bad that
The tournament was over anyways before the second day. So
the guy I was playing with, he was like, "Alvin, I have never seen a guy change so dramatically, just going from front 9 to back 9 to play lights out on the front to like literally looking like you went to Walmart, picked up a set of clubs off the shelf, came here and just started hacking at this thing. He goes, it was just like you'd never done this before. And it's true. I mean, I couldn't get the club back into any type of pocket to get it through. It was I was beaver tailing everything. It was shameful. But the game can humble you, man. And I'm getting better in that, in the mental part of it. I just play the shit. I play what the course gives me now. And I think
Yeah.
last year we went and played Desert Bloom, which in our area here is a little bit of a tougher course.
Oh,
More of a
their
li-
greens are like fucking
More of a
rolling
linksy
concrete.
style course with really, next level greens. And I think the first time I played there, I shot an 89. I broke 90 the first time I just played what the course gave me. And man, I was over the moon when I walked away from that course. I was like, other than one hole on the back that doesn't play into my game at all, which I'm going to have to learn how to navigate somehow this year. Everything else was just, I handled everything. I had shots for everything, right? And it was like that was a confidence builder to say, hey, doesn't matter if it's a hard course, easy course, what tee you're playing from, you can get around the course. So I'm getting better at that whole mental aspect of the game. But boy, sometimes
Yeah.
it's really tough, really tough.
You got any, Mike? I got a pretty recent 81 with a 48 on the back. So
Oh.
you guys can do the
Whoa.
math on that.
That's crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's a tough one. If anybody's wondering, that means I shot 33 on the front, 48 on the back. Yeah. So that's tough. That's a
Now
tough
I
one.
don't feel as bad.
To know
Yeah.
that it can happen to other people too.
Yeah.
No, I
Guy's
don't
been
know
playing
if I've
golf
got a
on me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, I don't know if I've got a scorecard that kind of fluctuates like that, but I've had a couple moments where all of a sudden, and I'm going to whisper it because it's like one of the bad golf words, right? I've been halfway through the round and I get the shanks with
Yeah.
I know how
with
that
low
feels.
irons too. It's not so all of a sudden like from about an 8 iron down to all the wedges. Like it got to the point because usually, ready golf, guys are up ahead on the right with the golf cart and they're grabbing their stuff and someone goes to the tee. And my friends were like, I know you're having a bit of a struggle, but just wait until we've grabbed our stuff and we'll get behind you. And I'm like, yeah, no, I
Thanks.
that makes sense. I would do that
Yeah.
too. I just
Yeah.
yeah, because just it was yeah, it's pretty traumatic to watch that happen about a half dozen times. So
And
I'll
sometimes you can't quite express yourself the way you want. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know how to tell you what happened here.
I was speechless because I was hitting it okay, and it was just another, like probably coming in for a mid 80s round in the back nine. All of a sudden, I'm like, man, if I fell out of a boat, I wouldn't hit water. It's just a
Right.
disaster.
That happens to me once in a while with my wedges. I'll set up and I'll be having a really good round, and all of a sudden I just won't be closing my face, and I'll go to hit a ball and it'll go straight sideways. I almost killed Clark twice last year on the one hole on Desert Bloom. He's like standing over there because so used to the way I hit the ball, and then all of a sudden it's like the ball jettisons out to him because he's just off to my left, and he's like, "What the hell?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Well, just one of those holes."
Yeah. Stay
I'll
loose. Heads
share
up.
I'll share one on behalf for Bryce, and then I got to run. But Bryce is a scratch golfer, so he's got a 66, followed up with a 92 the next day.
Oh,
So that I've played a bit of golf with Bryce, and Bryce can be very good. But
that's
yeah,
a
that's
28 shot difference. That's crazy stuff.
it's pretty wild to be able to go that low and to be able to go that high back to back days. But hey, that's golf, man. It happens, right? Like
Yeah. I think
it
Bryce
can
wins.
happen to
That's
anybody.
What a
oh my
wild
God.
sport we've kind of gotten
Invested ourselves in,
invested our
yeah.
Yeah.
time
What the
into,
hell
right?
are we
Yeah,
doing?
like what are we thinking, hey guys? But I gotta run. I still got a little bit of flooring to do tonight, boys, and then
Yeah, I gotta head home too. I
Yeah,
gotta
I
gotta
should
actually go
blast off
visit my
too.
wife. I've been gone all weekend.
Well,
So
fellas, I appreciate more than you can imagine you two jumping on here and doing our 50th episode with us. Here's looking to 50 more.
yep.
And somewhere down
happy
the
to
road,
do it.
we'll all get together again because these conversations are mint. I
Yep.
love them, and I
One of
look
these days
forward
it'll
to
be
them.
in person.
One of these days, boys.
Yeah.
I'll get the
Maybe
I would
even at
love
PJ
the
sent
that.
out for
That's
you
a
guys, and
yeah,
yeah,
maybe at the PGA
the
show
plan.
next year.
be
Yeah,
a dream
maybe.
to tee it up with you boys. Congrats on 50.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congrats. Thanks for
Thanks,
all the
fellas.
support too. You guys are the absolute best. And Mac, our goal, because we're in the pretty much the same, close to the same area code. We got to tee it up this year. I'll get myself out your way. That'd be a lot of fun.
We definitely do, and we can do some live then too. Because I love that.
Yeah.
Love that idea.
Love to see
That
that.
is
Awesome.
We'll get a couple bucket hats out there, Mike. It'll be good.
There you go. That's a great
100%.
idea.
Yeah, love it. Love
All
it.
right, fellas. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Keep well, boys.
Good
Thank you
evening,
so
All right,
much.
take care.
We'll talk to you later.
Cheers.
Perfect. Thank